Howdy, folks. I'm swaying sweet gum, sweetly swooning over swoon-worthy sweetgrass.
I'm Amber.
And here's more swoon-worthy sweetgrass for us to swoon over. I don't know why it's swoon-worthy, but I guess it is. Maybe it's because it's like swaying back and forth in the fields, and so that's what makes it swoon-worthy. I don't know. Let's get started. All right, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Giving My Ex-Wife Half of My Daughter's Birthday Money? My family has always been good about sending gifts and money for birthday and Christmas. This year was a great year for my daughter. In total, she got over $1,400 for her birthday, which I put in a joint savings account that I set up for her. All in all, I have been depositing her gift money in her account for over 3 years, which just so happens to coincide with around the time of my divorce. My daughter told my ex-wife about her savings account over the weekend. She was proud of having money. My ex-wife, on the other hand, took the news as me stealing money from her. She is demanding that I give her half of the money in my daughter's savings account. Her logic was that since we share custody of our daughter, she deserves half of the daughter's gift money as well. I asked my ex-wife about the money her side gives my daughter, and she told me that it's none of my business how much money her family gives her. Go figure. In the account, my kid has over 8 grand. All of the money that she has received from birthdays, Christmases, and other special occasions. And the ex-wife wants half of that. And I doubt that she'll put it in a savings account for my kid. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. That money was a gift to your daughter. Your ex-wife is trying to steal her own child's money.
I mean, that sure does come across that way, right? I mean, why does she want access to half of this money other than to like spend it? I don't know. Like, I mean, she does know that that's her daughter's money, right? But I
Right.
don't know if she cares.
She doesn't. She's jealous because the daughter probably is getting more money in gifts than she is, and she wants to use the money for things.
Yeah, I mean, that very well could be the case here. I mean, certainly I think that OP is right to keep that account private. That's not, I mean, he's a joint signer on that account. Now, I could understand her demanding access to the money if OP was spending that money and that she was trying to defend their daughter against having their money stolen.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what's happening in this situation. OP is going out of his way to ensure that his daughter is has savings and is not going to have it taken away from her.
Well, exactly. And she is not obligated to have like her name on this account. She is allowed to set up her own funds for the daughter, but she doesn't isn't entitled to the daughter all the daughter's money just because she is a biological parent.
Yeah, exactly. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Harvard diplomat says, ex-wife thinks that she is entitled to half of your kid's gift money? Laughing my butt off. That's a new one. Some people have no shame. And Creative Ad 9327 says, exactly. That money is for your daughter, and you're doing the responsible thing by saving it for her for the future. Your ex demands for half doesn't make any sense, especially since she isn't offering any transparency about the money that her side gives. Keep prioritizing your daughter's best interests. I mean, I did find that pretty interesting that she wasn't willing to share half of the money that her side is giving.
Right, because and that's what makes me think that more than anything, it's about her wanting to steal the money. Because if it was like, oh, we're all gonna put our like combine our money together into like a joint savings account or something, that would be one thing. But it seems like she just wants this handed over to her.
Yeah. And Potential Remote 388 says she is his ex-wife. The daughter is still and forever will be his daughter. What a shame that she wants to take away from her own kid. And Credit Criminal says, OP, I would freeze your daughter's credit. She sounds like the type that would take credit cards out in her name, rack them all up, and then quote unquote forget about them until her daughter applies for credit when she is an adult and realizes what her mother did. And OP replies, she did this to me a bunch of times when we were married. Target, Macy's, and Kohl's. She defaulted on all of them and completely messed up my credit so badly right before our divorce. My credit score was in the 400s and almost filed for bankruptcy. But I got her to pay them off after I threatened to press charges for credit card fraud. We were divorcing. Why should I have to play nice? I mean, I think that's actually really telling
Yeah.
in this situation, right? Like, The fact that she has this habit of spending money that she doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
really kind of signals to me that this is actually about the money itself and that she sees that as money that she can spend.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Being Happy After My Fiance Planned a Surprise Trip for Our Anniversary? This whole situation is really irking me, and I don't want to ask or bring family and friends into this. I, a 28-year-old female, and 30-year-old male both work from home in separate rooms. Our anniversary is this month, 8 years, so I've been looking at things to do for us to celebrate. Then, Wednesday morning, I get a text from him from his room saying that we're going to Moab this Friday. I reply, You're funny. No, we're not. For additional context, I've been to Moab a few times when I was younger, and he has never been. He knows that I want to take him, as I think that he would like it. He knows that I wanted to plan the trip that included biking and rappelling, think reverse rock climbing, and visiting the Arches National Park. I left my room and I went to his, and then I asked what he meant. He said that he booked an Airbnb for the two of us for 2 nights. $300 in total. I admittedly did not handle this well. I basically started panicking. I said, no, we can't do this. I wanted to sit down and plan this with more time. He got upset and started saying stuff like, you don't think that I did my research? It's a nice place, and this is the last weekend with nice weather. But I told him that a few hours looking into the Airbnb in the morning doesn't count as research. We have to get entries into the park, and we would need to rent bikes. We would need to look for rappelling tour companies and start looking at what to pack. He wanted to leave Friday evening, come back Saturday. It would have been a 6-hour drive from where we live. I got upset and I said that we can't even get a timely entry into the park this late. He said that he already put us on a list and more times would open up the night before, and got angry that I was getting upset. I basically said that you can't plan a trip when everything is just left to hopefully we'll get tickets and things will work out. I didn't want to be stressed by planning a trip in 48 hours. He's a bit more spiritual than I am and believing and trusting that things will work out. And while things have worked out in the past, he knows these types of things stress me out. His excuse for this is that I kidnapped him for his birthday one weekend without telling him about it first until we were on the road. It was a road trip to see Mount Rushmore, something that he's always wanted to do. But I explained that was very different. I planned everything down to the T a month in advance. I booked all the accommodations, made sure that we had entries into all the surrounding parks, what time different events were, options for restaurants. I even picked out all of his clothes, laptop in case of work emergencies, everything. I said this was more like surprise work, that now we have to rush to plan. He says that he moves fast and would work it out, and I don't care about his money that he would lose if he canceled now. I started to get very heated, and I told him that he could have walked 10 steps and asked me about it beforehand. This felt more like I want to go, and if I throw money at it, you have no choice but to plan it with me. This wasn't a gift. We both earn roughly the same amount of money in my head. No thought but the 2 hours on his phone from the morning went into this. And now he's angry and thinks that I'm overreacting, which maybe I might be, and that's why I'm asking you guys. And I'm ruining something that could have been so nice. But he knew that I wanted to bring him there and wanted it thought out. I hate leaving things to chance, and the universe will just take care of us. Please take everything that I said with a grain of salt. I'm trying to see things from his side, but I'm pretty angry at the moment. Maybe I'm not seeing something, and I should be more calm about this. He is currently pretty upset because he canceled the Airbnb and lost money. I tried Venmoing him the money that he lost, and he said that he didn't want my money and gave it back. He keeps saying that he wasn't trying to force me to do things like that. That wasn't his intention, and that he wanted to do something nice for me, but it was all just stressing me out. I tried to explain this to him calmly after an hour, but he still thinks that I should have just tried to go along with it. So Reddit, am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, I don't think Opie's the jerk here. Now, it does sound like there may be some fundamental incompatibilities in this relationship that might be worth having some talks about with couples counselors. Because there are some people who are very much like fly by the seat of their pants. They'll go somewhere and just like whatever happens, happens. But OP is clearly not that type of person. And he should know her well enough at this point in time to understand that she's going to want to plan out everything, and he's all of a sudden put a chore on her.
Yeah, I mean, I think this could have been very different if he had planned everything out to the T and said, "Guess what? We're going to Moab. I've been planning this out for a month, and everything is all set. I know that you get stressed out about planning things, and so I took care of all of that. So now you don't have to worry about that, and all we have to do is just get on the plane and go or whatever, right?"
Right, exactly. If he had actually taken the time to plan things out, to plan the trip, because it sounds like she's already told him everything that she wanted, then I feel like that could have been a nice surprise. It still would have been worth consulting with her to make sure she had the time free, but if he knew her schedule, then so yeah.
So how do you feel this differs from her gift of where she planned out that trip to Mount Rushmore?
I mean, it sounds like she planned everything down to the last details to make sure that they had a good trip and weren't just standing there in front of a park hoping that they'd get their wait list off the wait list and into the park and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really where the two differ, is that he didn't have to do any additional work for his gift, right? Whereas she would have to do all of this planning in a very short period of time. And they could have planned out things together, or they could have, or he could have planned everything out, but it's not his strong suit. So if he wants to surprise her with a trip, then he needs to understand that she's going to have to take some time to plan things out too, right? So I think that it was I don't think that he did this maliciously.
No, but I just think he didn't give enough consideration into how this would impact OP, which is why I think maybe talking things out with a counselor or something to try and come to better understand each other's attitudes towards these sort of things going forward might be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I think a conversation and sitting and talking about expectations would go a long way here. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And DK Mia Diku says, "Oh man, look, I'm a planner like you, OP, but wouldn't you have fun at all if it weren't planned out exactly how you wanted it? Like spending time with him in a different environment isn't enough for this time? Can't you plan another trip at a later date where you get to take the reins and still plan it, but still enjoy the trip? Maybe indeed you won't be able to enter the park, and maybe you do. Wouldn't it be enough to at least just go around and try to see the sights and enjoy that time with him? I'm sorry, but you're the jerk here." So what do you think about that comment?
I disagree. I'm also a planner. If I have a trip, I like to know what's happening. And for some people, it's just too stressful not to know. To have everything up in the air. It gets really hard to enjoy the moment when you're like, I don't know what's happening next. And I think it comes down to a fundamental difference in personalities. I am someone who likes to have at least some semblance of structure when I do things. If I was just like randomly brought somewhere, like that surprise trip she planned for him, that also probably would not be my cup of tea because it would throw me for a loop.
Well, it also sounds like they're going to Moab for a specific reason, for visiting specific sites.
Yeah.
And that's probably what's in her head when he explained that. And he could have just said, "Oh, well, I had some other things planned," right?
Well, she's also the only one who's been there before, so if these things that like don't pan out that he wanted to do, it's going to be on her to like guide him around the city and everything.
Yeah. So I do think that it is a little bit of a tricky situation. I understand where this person's coming from, but I don't know. It's hard. It's hard, right?
I feel like a trip with no planning is not really a gift at that point in time. Like if we were just like to end up in a random town and like we didn't know anything, we just had to like wander around hoping that things would work out, like that would be a very stressful situation for me personally.
Well, but there's the internet now, and the thing is like you can look up things to do at that point in time while you're there, right?
Right, but then it becomes planning.
Well, I mean, you can just be like, okay, well, we went to this like antique shop, and now let's go to this museum here, right? This museum is now open, and they also have this activity or that activity, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that you can look up in a place, especially if it's like a city-esque area that has a lot of different things to do. So, I mean, I can understand like if they just wanted to kind of tour a city, right? And have those kinds of events. So I think that it could work out, but I understand where you're coming from as well here, right? And Vehicle Mother 8643 says, I would be pretty annoyed to spend another 12 hours driving to the same destination just to do things that I would have wanted to do in the first place. There are so many other places to see. And Confetti for Teddy says, info, why is timed entry so important? The park is open all hours, and people without a timed entry ticket can enter the park before 7 a.m. or after 4 p.m. as long as the park is open, and the park is open 24/7. This information is on their website. Edit, another case of OP asking if they're the jerk, and then arguing every time that they're told that they're the jerk. I guess OP probably deleted their comments here. And Tap Empty 5776 says, why can't you just go and enjoy being together? Why does there have to be a major plan? So, I mean, it seems like our opinion is kind of in the minority opinion here.
It does, and I really having a hard time understanding why these people think that it's such a gift, because again, it seems like all the planning is going to fall on OP's head. You know, again, like if they get there, is he going to be the one guiding them around, bringing them places, or is he going to look to OP and be like, oh, well, we can't get into the parks now because it's like 7 a.m. is a really early time to be there, and after 4 p.m. is really late. So I understand why he should want to go during a daytime slot.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't know enough about their relationship, but if it's one of those situations where like he kind of always defers to her and she has to be the brains of the operation, that can be really tricky.
Yeah. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Paying It Forward in the Starbucks drive-thru after the person in front of me bought my coffee? Okay, I'll start with the fact that I prefer just to order and pay for my own coffee and leave. Other than normal pleasantries like the usual how's your day going, fine, and yours, I would prefer no conversation with the individual in the drive-thru. It happens a few times where the barista informs me that someone in front of me has bought my coffee and queries if I would like to do the same thing for the person behind me. Usually I have no problem doing this, as I was going to pay for mine anyways. Today this happens, and I say, sure, what's their total? And I was handing them my credit card when she told me that it was $42. I put my card away and I said, I guess the streak ends with me. This girl looks at me like she thought that I was the biggest jerk on the planet. Total contempt. In this instance, I don't care if people think that I'm the jerk because I'm not going to pay $42 for an entire car's worth of drinks and food because of some other nice individual paying for my $4 coffee. All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. I mean, I think these were completely different like expectations. It's one thing to spend $4 you're going to spend anyway for someone else's coffee. It's another thing to drop an additional $40 on someone's meals.
Well, this is order of magnitude greater than her drink. This is 10 times what she was going to order. She could have ordered 10 coffees, right? And I mean, I think that's telling right there, because there's a good chance that whoever bought those coffees behind them may have even been like someone running coffee for their job, where this is going to get expensed anyways, right? So I think that it was actually a little unfair for the barista to put OP on the spot like that.
I agree.
Because at a certain point, like, it just doesn't make sense to force someone to pay for a drink if this is like 10 times whatever their drink is.
Well, exactly, you know, and so I think like people should be able to decline anyway. Like it's a nice thing to do, sure, but like you shouldn't feel obligated to buy someone else's drink. So yeah, I don't think OP did anything wrong here. Certainly you should not be obligated to pay for someone else's order just because someone else paid for yours, especially though when there's this kind of disparity in purchases.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
How can you tell if the ocean is feeling friendly?
Well, I imagine that it won't knock on your door, or it will knock on your door and be like, knock, knock, and you'll be like, who's there? And the door will be like, the ocean, and then you'll open the door and you'll get flooded. It was very friendly water.
It waves.
It waves and knocks. And I have a special guest tea, the chocolate tea. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy terrific Tuesday, spelled TWO. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it in the form of a Hallmark card from your ex.
Thinking of you and the kid we share, and hoping her money will soon be near.
I think that works. I think that works. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.